In general, what should all firms do to manage multiple vendors?
So when managing multiple vendors, I think it's very important to consider, you know, some sort of centralized resource, possibly a data management system, possibly an ERP system, in order to have sort of a central repository where you can aggregate all of the vendor information, and then you can work through any kind of data integrity issues. You can perform reconciliation after you have that central resource. So I think it's a very powerful thing, and I think it's something that firms from smaller funds to even some larger funds are actually missing in sort of their operational and technological infrastructure.
What can smaller firms do to make the whole process of managing vendors easier?
I think it's particularly important for small funds to be able to to be able to manage these vendors, because oftentimes small funds will be doing a lot of outsourcing of some very business critical processes, and I think that when you're doing that as a small fund, it's even more important sometimes than in a larger fund or a larger financial institution where you have internal departments that are working on all these things. I mean, because of all the different vendors you're using, it's even more important to have sort of that data repository that I was talking about. And it can take a lot of forms. It can be a reconciliation system. I mean, for some smaller funds that are just doing like trade management, position management, that sort of thing. But when you're talking about funds that are, for instance, filing Form PF or something like that, it's even more vital to have that data repository that you can refer to for regulatory purposes, for portfolio management purposes, for other operational purposes.
What are some of the best practices that are emerging for overseeing multiple vendors?
So some of the best practices I would say have to do with ensuring that the vendors that you bring on board are for data management have a high degree of familiarity with with the different counterparties that you're using, with your fund administrator, and not only that, but you need SLAs in place with your vendors, and this is on both sides of the data feed, right? For the actual service providers that are they're giving you uploaded information, actual financial information, and then your data management vendor or your data management team internally that's actually transforming those files into a usable system for analysts, for your operations team, and for PMs.